Hi everyone! I am Loraine from the Story of the Ever Unfolding Rose, and I am back with another story for you. So for today's online reading, we're doing the topic, how to build a better relationship with your inner child. And with this reading, I divided it into 4 parts. The four parts will be divided first into archetype cards, which will represent your inner child and how your inner child sees you. And then the second portion will be what left your inner child scarred, scared, and wounded. And then the third part will be how to heal your inner child. And the last part would consist of messages from your inner child. So with that, for this reading, you can choose your pile through cards from the Happy Little Things. And for pile number 1, you got thank you. Place here. Now for pile number 2, you got a book or a game. See here closer. And then this one. Place it here. And for pile number 3, you got holding hands. As you can see here. Now, you can pause the video while you take the time to choose which pile you are most drawn to. And I will see you in your pile. Bye! Hi, pile number 1. So before we start the reading, I would just like to also place this card that one of the cards that I picked from my daily meditation today from the Mudras for Awakening the Energy Body, and which I think is very fitting for the whole reading itself. It's Padma Mudra, which you can practice actually for breathing exercises. Normally you just do the hand gestures like that. This is for Padma Mudra, and then you can actually use this in the description at the back. What normally it assists with, what are the benefits and how to do it, and what's the focus, which is unconditional love, which I think is perfect for the whole reading. So I'll leave this here to set the intention for the whole reading. Now, pile number 1, you picked thank you from the Happy Little Things deck, and we can place this here. Now, for the first portion of the reading, as I've said, the first card here from the archetype cards will represent your inner child. And your inner child is represented by bully. So again, when I'm using archetype cards, I don't take it literally. Normally I look at it with the whole reading itself, and some of the words that leap out to me, or some of the visuals that strikes me the most. That's how I interpret it. But if it resonates with you, then take the best and leave the rest. So for the light attributes, we have highlights your tendency to intimidate others, helps you confront the inner fears that bully you. For the shadow attribute, we have conceals deep fear behind verbal or physical abuse. So this is the card representing your inner child, pile number 1. Let's put it here and fix it a bit. Now for this for the card that represents how your inner child sees you, pile number 1, you got Don Juan. The light attribute spotlights your positive seductive qualities, and the shadow attribute using the power of romantic attraction for private agendas. So again, take what resonates, and I'm just gonna interpret it from the whole reading itself. So your inner child, actually pile number 1, from what I can gather from the card, is that your inner child is someone who have strong emotions, and this child has intense feeling, can feel too much actually, and there's nothing wrong with that. He can also be someone's really strong in general with the strong emotions, but your inner child somehow learned how to control these strong emotions, how to keep this strong emotions within himself or herself. Because for some of you, I could see that some of you got into trouble when you were a child, when you get your emotions go out of hand, you were not able to control it. You probably got into some altercations with another, and this, for some of you, this has caused you to learn the harder way how to suppress your emotions from that incident. And now, from that point, from you learning how to control yourself better, how to be more self-disciplined as a child. Now, you are, your inner child sees you now as a Don Juan. I'm not saying that, well, literally, if that floats your boat or you think that resonates with you, but more of I see that your inner child sees you as someone who has grown up to be very attractive. I mean, if probably you had a hard time getting along before with others, you learn now how to control yourself, comport yourself better, to the effect that you now appear to be, and how your inner child sees you as someone very attractive. You are a charming individual. You now have a pleasant demeanor or disposition, and you just seem to know what words to say, um, how to charm others or please others, and your inner child sees you using these abilities with words, with the way you act, with the way that you present yourself, to actually get what you want now as an adult. And that's not a bad thing. That's how your inner child sees you. Someone is very confident actually, with regards to using these skills to get what you want. So with that, the next portion of this reading would go to what now, what inner child, what incident left your inner child scarred, scared, or wounded. So to check that, first we got from the Dark Mirror Oracle, and we got two clarifiers from the repurposed Greek mythology playing cards that I repurposed, as I've mentioned in one of my posts. So you got, for the first card, Revenge. Put it here. Or put it up so you can see the whole picture better. Okay. And then you got Two of Spades, Compromise, as clarifier for this one. And then you got the Queen of Hearts, Aphrodite, Venus. Let's put it here. So pile number 1, from what I gather from your card, you might have grown up with a parental figure, but more of a mother figure, but this is the energy. That's why I'm referring to it as a mother figure. Someone who's supposed to nurture you, the caregiver, for caregiver parental figure in your life, who, like Aphrodite, was capricious in a way. You can be fickle with her emotions, because Aphrodite was well known to be fickle with her lovers. And like the gods of Mount Olympus, they are, for being godly beings, they have human emotions, which includes again being jealous, being envious, being fickle, like Aphrodite is, like love is fickle with that saying. And you actually somehow part of you learning how to manage your emotions, how to suppress your emotions, is due to this parental or caregiver figure, which I'll just refer to as a mother figure, at least for this reading. But this is just the energy. And this mother figure, actually, you walked. This actually reminds me of that Two of Swords in the Rider-Waite, that you walked eggshells around her, like you're walking a thin thread. She can be too emotional. 1 minute she's happy, she can be volatile in a way that you don't know where to stand with her, and you tried your best to always present the best foot forward, your most pleasing demeanor towards her, to please this caregiver, this mother figure. You learned how to because here Persephone has two sides to her. Aside from being the goddess of spring, the other duality of her is she's the goddess of the underworld. She learned there was a compromise before, because she ate some pomegranate. But that's another mythological story for another time. But my point is compromise here, highlighting that word, that instead of you being free to express to what you really feel, fears, worries that you had to keep it suppressed within you. You learned because you, as a child, of course you wanted love. You should have unconditional love, but you felt that for you to be loved by this parental figure, you have to earn it. You have to be the best, or at least you have to please this parental figure. And that caused you to suppress yourself. That caused you to ignore, especially those negative emotions within you, and just to be pleasant, easygoing, go with the flow, especially towards others. Because for some of you, I could see, even for some of you, that when you express negative emotions, this parental figure would somehow dismiss it. She doesn't like any unpleasantness. And again, I'm using she as a mother energy here. She doesn't want any unpleasantness. So you learn to go along with what she wants, because if you give her what she wants, then she'll love you better. She'll give you more favor. She'll see you in a more favorable light. So you learned how to conceal your deep fears within yourself, as the card, well, at least the shadow attribute, which I'm seeing here internally. And growing up, actually, this has caused you to be more or less, for some of you, I can see, or actually most of you, learn now how you don't trust your emotions. You are not comfortable with your emotions, especially with your negative emotions. And that to the point that some of you lack awareness with regards to your emotions, because as a child you were not allowed to express really yourself. You lacked that voice. You weren't able to have that voice. And in addition, you lack that security, that stability, because you have this capricious, whimsical parental figure where you don't know where you stand, where you felt that you have to earn their love, that they have to approve of you, that you have to be your best demeanor, you have to be a pleasant child, an obedient child, just to get the love and approval of this parental figure, which should have been unconditional in the first place, regardless of how you behave then, regardless of what you feel. Parental love should have been unconditionally given to you in the first place. And now, pile number 1, your inner child is now calling you, helping you address this issue that you have been suppressing deep within you, that is actually inadvertently affecting how you interact not only with others, because it prevents you from having this authentic, more honest expression and feelings and relationship with others, because you are not honest with yourself, with what you feel deep inside of you, pile number one, as your inner child is actually saying now, revealing to you now. And the good thing is, of course, your inner child is now saying what you need to heal at this point. Let me adjust the camera, please, so you can see actually the pictures better. Yep, I can see now the cards better. So with that, pile number one, we can proceed with actually the third part of the reading, which will show how to heal this inner child wounds consisting of being unable to express yourself, lack of stability, lack of security, basically this lack of unconditional love, also stemming from what should have been freely given to you during your childhood. So I pulled 3 cards from the Light Years Tarot, and unlike the other readings that I do that I'm on the spot, actually I picked the card. This time I really took my time to meditate on the cards, so I can really give you the message that your inner child, even the universe and God, wants to send to you through this reading. Pile number one. So for your first tarot card, that would represent how you can heal this inner child wound that your inner child is not telling you. First, you got the Knight of Cups. Let's put it here. And then the second card that you got is another knight, the Knight of Wands. Let's put it here. I wanted somehow to be that organized, but anyway. And then this is your third card. Beautiful, the Empress. I love the Empress card. There. And then actually, I also want to put in ahead, I also got 3 cards from the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. So the first card that you got is Activating the Third Eye. I am willing to see beyond my beliefs, ideas, and conclusions. I just want to highlight the message. You can put it here so you can see it. And then next is Overcoming Fear. And it states, I will transcend every loss. And then the last healing mantra that you got, Transforming Tragedy. Loss is my reminder that more room has been made for greater gifts to be received. Let's put it here. So pile number one, from what I can see here, for the message on how to heal your inner child wound, starting first with this beautiful Knight of Cups, is that because this Knight of Cups, as you can see, someone who's romantic, chivalrous, and someone who's actually in touch with his emotions among all of the knights in the minor arcana. So simply put, pile number one, this is your inner child, or inner child and the universe telling you that you need to develop this self-awareness regarding your feelings. This is you learning, because as a child, of course, you didn't learn how to process your emotions properly because you had to suppress it. You didn't get your mother's feedback, or that mother figure. You didn't get his or her feedback regarding the emotions that you have been feeling. So you just suppress it. Deep within you, just buried it. And now you are being invited, pile number 1, to develop this self-awareness regarding your feelings. You need to learn how to get in touch with your emotions. And how do you do that? You are just taking the time to stop and feel what you're feeling. Like, the first part of that is actually naming that feeling within you. Like, for example, what is this feeling? Let's say, mm, you got scolded, for example, by your boss, for example, and then you feel negative about it. You'd ask yourself, what is this negative feeling that I am having? Because it's something that I don't like. So don't like its negative feeling. So what is this? So I don't like that my boss said that I'm not doing my work because I've been putting lots of hours, lots of ideas onto this work. So that's indignation, that's anger for you. Well, it could be self-righteous anger, but it's anger. But on the other hand, I took a vacation like last week, so probably it could be justified. There's shame. Because you have to recognize pile number 1. I think I forgot what's that movie by Pixar, that when you go through emotions, it's not just one-sided emotions. It's a concoction of different feelings or different emotions for one situation. Um and I forgot, is it the one with joy, with sadness, that Pixar movie, that cute Pixar movie, that one that one teaches the audience that, for example, when a particular thing occurred, you can feel both sad and happy at the same time. So you just have to be more aware. So I think one way to do this is start journaling, or even just typing down your notes. I mean, on your phone, if you don't like the actual writing itself, you can journal using your phone. And then typing away on your notes, what did I feel? So just process it. And then as you try to name the feeling, you'll notice that you'll get used to recognizing eventually what you are feeling. You just have to take that first step. Pile number 1. You have to develop self-awareness, especially regarding your emotions. Pile number 1. As a way to address that childhood wound of yours that has caused you to suppress your emotions. So you have to recognize them first in the first place for you to be aware of them. And then with that, actually, I wanted to go down to this the cards are this way, but anyway, this one I am this are mantra card, healing mantra card, that states, I'm willing to see beyond my beliefs, ideas, and conclusions. Exactly, actually, sort of um being more aware. In a way, it's connected with that when you consciously allow yourself, decide for yourself that you want to see things more clearly, um see the lessons, or actually go sit down and try to sort and process your am I using the correct word? But more of not process, but more of getting to know or getting in touch with your emotions. Then that's you willing to see beyond what you have previously been doing, your ideas about it, about your emotions, which you just kept suppressed, actually. And this is actually also about developing more patience as you become more aware, because it's not just like one day, okay, I'm aware of what I'm feeling. It starts with a step, single step, single step, single step, and then it becomes a habit, a good habit, or you recognize more emotions, you get better and better in recognizing your emotions as you practice, or you try for each situation to process it. And you're not afraid of it anymore, because you're only afraid of the unknown, and you are strong. Why would you be afraid of what you feel? Especially when this feeling is something that will eventually addressing these feelings, especially the negative ones, befriending it. Well, I will go into depth with that in the next cards. but it will actually help you eventually achieve true happiness. And true happiness is a feeling. And when I say true happiness, not the momentary happiness that you get, the temporary high, but true contentment and inner peace. So I'm veering away actually. So getting back on the pile, getting back on your card pile number 1. So for the Knight of Wands here, the Knight of Wands is, as you can see her, she's beating the drums happily with a horse jumping off with abandon from the distance. So it speaks of impulsivity, bravery, pursuing what you want. So actually, pile number 1, with regards to your situation here, it's you finally expressing your emotions, especially the pain. Express the pain that you feel. There's nothing wrong with feeling that pain. It doesn't make you weak. What makes you weak is that you're running away from the pain or running away from your emotions. And it makes you with the Kelly Clarkson song, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But at least in here, it's okay to let yourself say ouch when it hurts in that way. And please, actually, I just want to remind you, pile number 1, when it comes to inner childhood, rather, that aside from the tips, of course, from this reading, please also consider getting a therapy or consulting a professional as to complement whatever inner healing that you've already been undergoing through. Because of course, if you will want to get all the help that you can, because you will want the best for yourself, the best healing journey for yourself, and you deserve that, pal number 1. Now for this one, so look at her, she's really expressing her emotions. So with you, your pain, your losses, your anger, express them. But of course, I'm not saying that express them per se, like like especially not illegally. I mean, I'm not advising illegal stuff here in my channel, but express them freely in a safe way. And actually, with the Knight of Wands, Wands creativity, you can express it creatively. Exactly, you can play drums, like for into that, or you can do like a sports, like a physical sport, like you can pound on, for example, like boxing, or but don't hurt other people. Like maybe the punching bag, or anyway, you can go through arts, music to express your anger, your negative emotions, the fear, whatever song, for example, resonates with you. You can also do that, pile number 1. But this is for you to express your emotions in a positive manner, in a creative manner. So, because once you process your emotions, you actually get it out of your system, especially the negative ones. And that's what you want to do, pile number 1, right? You don't want to keep suppressing it because it will manifest in some other way and eventually erupt uncontrollably when you just ignore it. Pile number 1. And here with this, I will overcoming fear. This is overcoming fear at the back. And then I will transcend every loss. So see, this is you just literally overcoming your fear of what you're feeling, your emotions as well. And once you do that, you more or less befriend your emotions. Befriend in a way that you are not your emotions. Because when you feel jealous, when you feel envious, when you feel shame, you're not a shameful person, you're not an envious person. Because when you label yourself with your emotions, you let your emotions control you. So you turn it the other way around in your mind. Your mind is our mind is very powerful. So when you are feeling, let's say, envious, then you examine. So what you have sit down with your feelings. And actually, a good way to do this in a more scientific manner, as I would recommend, is there's this book called Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess by 5 Simple Scientifically Proven Steps to Reduce Anxiety, Stress, and Toxic Thinking by Dr. Caroline Leaf. She is a book that has been I discovered through one of my favorite online tarot reader, White Feather Tarot, and this book can help you process your anxiety, stress, and toxic thinking and feelings, because those feelings actually comes from our unconscious mind, from the thoughts and memories that we formed from before. And she has these methods on how you can conquer and manage your thoughts and emotions. And she has been running clinical trials about it as well when you read the book. And I will provide the link of the book actually in the description box in case you're interested. And I'm not paid to promote her book. I am just really amazed by how life-changing her book is. And if it helped me, then hopefully it can also help you process your own emotions, manage your own emotions, control them, and not let them control you. Turn it the other way around. And you would want that, would you not, pile number one? So with that, moving on to how to express your pain, your negative emotions in a positive manner, we have this Empress card. Simply put, this Empress card is symbolic of the divine feminine, fertility, motherhood, and unconditional love. So this is simply put you loving yourself, because our concept of self was normally built through our mothers and how they interacted with us. And we need to realize, of course, that at least for your situation, pal number one, that your mother was unable to build that self-image of you through unconditional love in the past in a positive way. But you have to know, pile number one, that it was and it is never your fault that you did not receive unconditional love when you were growing up. It was never your fault, pile number one. And you have to learn that because you thought that you have this idealized image that you have to present not only to your parental figure but to the world, that you can then receive love, approval, but you have to let go of this less than ideal image of yours so you can recreate now your own self-image. You have to learn how to remove the need for approval of other people, of that parental figure, and learn to know to need only your own approval. So with that, it starts with unconditionally loving yourself, the parenting that you didn't get as a child, you now give it to yourself, you now give it to your inner child. So with this, you practice proper self-care now because you are being a parent to yourself. And when you say self-care, I'm not telling you to spoil yourself, because that's not unconditional self-love when you spoil yourself. It is you taking proper care of your own needs. And for some, it could start as simple as taking that morning walk before sitting down at your desk at the office, or again, when you choose what to eat for lunch, you'd go for the healthier option because that's you taking care of your proper needs, or forgoing that sugar-filled soda, for example. Or it could be as simple as also taking that time off for a coffee with a friend who makes you feel good about yourself. That's also you taking care of your emotional needs in some way. Now, with that, with this loss is my reminder that more room has been made for greater good to be received. This is actually symbolic of me, with you learning how to forgive yourself, forgiveness in general, because first, when you acknowledge your own feelings, and in a way, you acknowledge your own feelings, whatever losses, whatever pain that you've been feeling and you felt while you were growing up, while you were a child, you in turn actually grieve over those emotions, those feelings that you were never able to get as a child then. And with this actually, um with you grieving over, in a way letting you feel the emotions that you were not able to feel before, you're not allowed to feel before, this creates for you a way to release them. As I've said, express them, release them. And now this creates more space for you, especially towards being more space for those positive emotions to come in. So acceptance, when you let go of the pain, the anger, the shame, whatever you want, whatever negative feeling that you can process, you can conceptualize, you can express in a healthy way. Once you've let go, you now make room for more positive emotions of self-acceptance and forgiveness and more love to come in. But you have to know that mothering is a hard work, pal number one. And no one is perfect. Even our mothers, even the best mothers out there, no one is perfect because, hey, we've been living, all of us are living this life for the first time. But you know what? You also have to realize that um your mother was the way that she is, or not even just your mother, your parental figure. I'm just again using the mother energy, was the way that she was with you, because as within, as without, that was also the way that she was parented by her own mother or father or parental figure while she was growing up. That was how she was taught the way to be taken care of. So that's how she also took care of you. You have to realize that and not dwell on, even if she's wrong, not dwell on how she can change, on how you can how you'd like her to be, for example, or get angry at her. But when once you realize that she was also a product of the parenting that she has given to you, then you can somehow be more accepting for her, because you now have the opportunity, because since you open your mind, you open yourself to new ideas, you are more accepting now of your negative emotions. You have now more room for unconditional self-love. You now sit on a higher perspective, or I'll stand if you want, on a higher perspective, pal number one. You know now, you know better now what type of love you should have received as a child, and you are now practicing this love, giving this love that you should have received as a child to yourself. And you, by doing this, you are now breaking the cycle within your family, within your lineage, if I can say that. Because again, your mother received that from her mother, or at least your parent received it from their parent, and the parent before them. It's a cycle. It's a cycle, and you can now break that cycle because you now know better. Because you're choosing now to be truly happy and to be truly free from this childhood trauma, from this generational trauma that has been handed down from one parent to another and to another. And because of this, you're actually now, as I've said, as I've been channeling actually while I was meditating this, been chosen by, if you are spiritual or at least religious, been chosen by God, by the universe, by spirit, by the creator, to break this curse or intergenerational trauma within your family, because you are getting free. You are choosing unconditional self-love this time. And you will succeed. Actually, you will succeed. You know why? From the start, the message of your card, of your inner child, is thank you. Simply put, it's, and you know that half of the cure is awareness in the first place. So you're halfway there. Pile number one. That's the good news here. Because you know what you need to heal, and you know that you can heal it. So it's more or less a journey that with that, you know that there's that light at the end of that tunnel. You are certain of it. It's a fact. And not only that, pile number one, because you are breaking this cycle, this chain, or this curse, whatever you want to term it, of parenting, conditioned parenting handed down from one generation to another. You are also actually freeing your children or your future children, if you don't have any children right now, from undergoing this difficult childhood experiences that you had, because you are now undergoing this difficult, yes, most rewarding inner healing journey. And because of that, your children now or your future children will never have to experience the emotional wounds that you received as a child and the emotional wounds that was received by your parents or their parents before them, and so forth and so on. Because now you are now aware of what to do, you can now know what to heal, and you can go forward with your healing. And with that, pile number 1, I'm just excited to know that at least now you have this direction of how to start to be truly happy within you, with that unconditional self-love that you need in order to truly heal and mother yourself first and foremost, before you can truly unconditionally love and fully heal and mother or nurture other people as well. Pile number 1. Now with that, pile number 1, let's go now to the last portion of this reading, which would consist of messages from your inner child. Messages from your inner child. And I pulled 3 cards from the Wild Offering Oracle. First you got travel. Let every aspect of this trip unfold in harmony. May the divine order arrange and handle every detail. I'll be guided easily and follow the leads as they are shown. Well, you can literally travel if you want. At least this one would be an adventure for you and your inner child. But I feel that it's also God, along with your inner child, telling that this travel also actually mostly pertains to your inner healing journey. And here, in this inner healing journey that you are having now, pile number 1, trust that every aspect, that every step of it, God, the divine, the universe, spirit is with you in every way, and you will be guided easily, and you will be led until you reach that end of the tunnel. You have that assurance from God here, and from your inner child as well. What a beautiful message from them. Let's put it here. And now, for your second Wild Offering Oracle, you got forgiveness. Healing comes from acceptance. Help me, dear Lord, to fully accept what is, knowing that this alone will open me to the new. I think this is just a reiteration of what we've already discussed earlier. Your start of this inner healing journey starts with you choosing to unconditionally love yourself. And unconditional self-love is equals to acceptance. And that will slowly transform your world as you forgive, in effect, yourself. When you unconditionally love yourself, you forgive yourself for everything. And everything that you will do. Everything that you did and everything that you will do. Wow. And here, the last card that will consist of your message for your from your inner child and from God is striving. Here, eventually, the individual's ego's drive to make things happen falls away, replaced with a relaxed, trusting openness to answers as they arise. Thank you, Divine, for letting me move with the flow. So this is just you, as I've mentioned earlier. Just take that step. Every step that you take, each small steps of unconditional self-love that you practice every day, those steps, when you accumulate every day, when you look back sometime in the near future, that those small steps added together actually became one big leap of faith for yourself, of unconditionally loving yourself. So just always continue, and again, This will not be an easy journey, pal number one, but it's worth it. You deserve the best. And even though it's not easy, God has assured you of that light at the end of the tunnel, pal number one. The path to your true happiness is there, is promised, is assured. As long as you are striving, you are always taking that small steps every day for yourself. That small steps of unconditional love, pile number one. So pile number one, I am excited, actually, and happy for your inner healing journey, inner child healing journey, and your inner child is the fully accept, waiting for you at the end of the tunnel to see that fully healed version of you, that version of you that's now ready to achieve true happiness and receive true happiness at the end of the tunnel. So with that, pile number one, that ends your story. And if you like this story, you can press the like button, and you can also press subscribe so that you'll be notified of the future stories that I will publish here on my channel. Bye! Hi, pile number two. Welcome to your reading. So before we proceed to your actual reading, I would just also like to put this card that I pulled from my daily meditation from the Mudras for the Awakening the Energy Body Oracle deck, which I think is very apt for all of the readings for this video. This is called the Padma Mudra for unconditional love, and at the back, which you can pause the video, shows what it assists with, the benefits, and how to do it. And the focus will be unconditional love. And you can also Google actually how to do it, the pictures. And this might also help you with your breathing exercises. It does me with the hand gestures or the mudras when I do it. So pile number one, you've chosen that's pile number two. Oh, which reminds me, pile number two, you might have been also drawn to pile number one because I see a similarity in the messages of your cards. So you might also want to check that pile out after this video. So pile number two, you've chosen a book or a game. So let's put it here. This one, let's put it a bit here. Now we'll go to the archetype cards. First, the archetype card that represents your inner child is Artist. Again, as I've said, whenever I use the archetype cards, I don't normally just focus on the description of the cards. I take it as a whole together with the words that leap into me, or that catches my attention, or the visuals itself, together with the whole cards piled up with it. So for the artist, the light attributes, expressing a dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. Now for the shadow attributes, using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as the starving artist to elicit pity. So again, take the best and leave the rest that doesn't resonate with you from the description if it resonates with you. But I will interpret it together with the other cards. So this represents your inner child, pile number two. And we can put it here. And then the card that represents how your inner child sees you is the dilettante. Light attributes, delights in the arts without having to be a professional, alerts you to the danger of becoming superficial in your pursuits. Shadow attribute, pretension to much deeper knowledge than you actually possess. Let's place it here. Now, pile number two, from your cards, from what I can see, your inner child was very creative. Well, the visual itself will show it. Your inner child is someone who has a vivid imagination. It expressed you, or he or she express itself maybe through music, through arts, dance, maybe cooking. For some, it might not be an outright straight creative pursuit, but this inner child of yours had this passion to pursue a particular interest. It has a particular focus on some interest, could be sports, could be academics. But as a child, I could see this huge interest into doing something in particular, but somehow eventually decided not to explore anymore or decided to forget, especially as you grow up. And this is this dilettante card archetype is how your inner child sees you. So your inner child sees you as someone who's still very curious, who's very curious about different things. You do the things that you like. You're very versatile, and you are adaptable. You can adapt to situations and learn new things. And your inner child sees you as someone who's easygoing, someone who's fun to be with, someone who can also be nonchalant. And that's how your inner child sees you currently. Now, for the second part of the reading, we'll go now on how your inner child was wounded, was scarred, was how did it come to be, or where did it come from? For that, I picked one oracle card from the Dark Mirror Oracle, supported or clarified by two Greek mythology playing card that I repurposed. So first, we have Envious Gluttony. I think I have to put it higher so you can have better pictures of the rest of your cards. Okay, I think that's better. Now, as clarifier, first you got the Queen of Diamonds, Juno and Hera, and I'd like to keep upright the Greek counterpart. So Hera it is. And then the Joker, but the more of the club and the spades version of the Joker. I left two Joker in the playing cards to represent the Fool card. So from this, from the cards that you've gotten for your pile number 2, from what I can see here, your inner childhood wound could have come from a mother. Again, similar with pile number 1, they also got a court card there. But when I said there, a mother figure can be a parental figure, or can be someone who has this mother energy, nurturing energy, caregiver energy. So, but for the purpose of this reading, I'll refer to this energy as a mother figure. So, this mother figure has maternal narcissism, which means that this parental figure was supposed to support you, to nurture you, but instead it narcissistically defended itself, its own interest from you gaining more independence. And you gaining this independence is a threat for this mother figure, especially when you are growing up, and even now as you've grown up. This mother figure wanted to counter your independence in some way by establishing herself as the primary support, the primary caregiver, the primary go-to for yourself, the one who can decide best on what's best for you, in such a way that it made it difficult for yourself to find your voice, to be free in a way, to explore what you want as a child without the direction of this parent, without them claiming that they know better, that they know best for you. And you have to remember though that this parental figure is not doing this just with an evil intent, but she was unable to let go of you as his or her child. it can even, for some of you, it can even have started as a child, that, or as an infant, or as a baby, that this mother figure is jealous of, even for example your dad or other people is getting attention, more attention from you, because she wants all of your attention for herself. And when you are going to school, when you're interested in something, as I've said here, when you're passionate towards something, that would actually have made you more independent, because you are pursuing this skill, this drive, this particular goal, and you become more of a skilled or an expert towards that. And she doesn't want that. Again, I'm just using it as a mother figure. So either your nurturing parental figure resorted to punishment, or or shame of any behavior that she considers rebellious, or if you did not follow that particular standard that she has set for you, or you don't follow her words. And again, she will say that she knows what's best because she loves you. Or for some of you, this could have been manifested. This could have manifested for you, not she, instead of you pursuing this particular interest that you wanted, for example, to play this sports, you wanted to train more, you wanted to get more expert training, for example, in this painting or music, or for example, just an example. But oh, she doesn't want to see you too hard, working too hard. That would put you into a difficult position. You shouldn't get too pressured. So she will distract you instead, or distracted you instead with some material offering, like maybe gave you more toys to play with, or go on a trip with her. But in a way, you will see that it was just a ploy from her to stop you, or refrain, to restrict you from becoming more independent in a way. And this could have continued and could be still continuing as you grow up, because this parental figure tries to insert herself in every aspect of your relationship. Even when you decide on where to work, she will have to have a say on that. Or your friends, she has to have to approve all of your friends, for example. Even for example, your romantic partner has to get her approval. And for some of you, if they don't approve of your romantic partner, you drop them at the point of a hot, or did I say the idiom correctly? But anyway, you get my point. Drop them off like a hot towel in a way. So again, as I've said, this was not done out of an evil intent, but this caregiver has done this because she's more or less trying to fill a void within her. Because when people do negative things to you, they are normally because they are negative also within themselves in a way. So for some of you, this parental figure could have been trying to fill up a void within her, caused maybe by an unhappy marriage, or maybe an unhappy career or lack thereof. And as the saying goes, the road to hell could be paved with good intentions. So this, for some of you, this mothering and or this unhealthy attachment from this parental figure has actually resulted you growing up being insecure, lacking in self-esteem. You never felt that you were good enough to do different things or some things, or be an expert enough to, or to truly exert your independence. Hence, you just like to dabble in things. And for some of you, you feel aimless in a way. You lack self-confidence on your own self, because you even have a lack of clear direction in your careers, and you just follow what this parental figure will say, that, oh, you should do this, you're better at this, because you feel that you don't know yourself better, and that this parental figure knows yourself better in a way, because you have never really had a chance to stand on your own 2 feet. You've been trapped in this role, good son, good daughter, as you sacrifice your independence and your emotional authenticity, whatever you feel, even if you want to get free, or you want to do this, party out, or explore, go on trips with other people, now that you've grown up, that you have your own job. But you have to be the good son or the good daughter, and always keep this parental figure happy. And this caused you this attachment of this parental figure, caused you to lack this stability and security within yourself because you don't believe in yourself, in essence, because you had to sacrifice your freedom, your emotional authenticity to keep this parent happy in a way. And that would consist of the inner childhood wound that your inner child is bringing to your attention through this reading, pile number 2. Now, for the third portion of this reading, we will now delve deeper on how to heal your inner child wound. I would just like to state at the upfront, of course, that I am no expert in a way, but I am just interpreting also the card and from my own experiences. But please use your discretion if you need to get an expert advice to complement your own inner child healing. So with that said, let's go now and check out the cards. So I put 3 Light Years Tarot cards to represent how to heal your inner child wound, and 3 oracle cards from the Healing Mantra deck. So I'll lay out all the cards first before we go to the interpretation of the same. First, you got the Strength card. You can place it here. I bumped into the camera. And then you got the 8 of Swords. And for the last tarot card to represent how to heal your inner child wound, you got the 8 of Wands. Now, as I've said, for this particular reading, I've pre-shuffled and pre-pulled the card and didn't record the picking of it. And then I took my time to meditate it because I want to take my time to get clearly the message that your inner child wants you to know, because I know that this is an important reading. So while I was meditating, I was really amazed when I saw 8, 8, 8. So this is synchronicity, and 8s are about abundance, in a way, about mastery. I mean, infinity symbol. You can even Google 888. What did that mean as an angelic number? And you'll see the message also there. So for your Healing Mantra card, first you got Awakening Inspired Action. There is only what life is asking of me. I can put it here below the Strength card. Okay. And then you got Integrating the Ego. Everything is for me, not against me. Put it here. And your last card, Exploring Unity Consciousness. I am one eternal light appearing as all. Put it here. Now, with this cards, pile number 2, as I've said earlier, you can also check the reading of pile number 1, especially on the healing, inner child healing portion. So it can also complement the message here, because there are some similarities with your deck. So going now here, with the Strength card here, pile number 2, there's a lion face here, and with the sheep here, oh well, baby lamb, I think. It's the card inviting you to be brave, and stand up for yourself, and in the same time be compassionate, more compassionate towards yourself. As I've said, this is the Strength card, and I want to say, because you have been feeling that since you lack independence, that that you feel that you're not good in doing different things, for example. But I want to give you, actually, while I was meditating, a good example on how good you can be once you set your mind and heart onto it. A very, very, very good example of how good you can be. You've played almost to perfection. Pile number 2, this role of a good son or good daughter all through these years. Remember? You managed to, well, I don't know, this is not to promote it, but you were so strong that you had to suppress yourself in order to please that parental figure. So that's just one role that actually you are capable. You see that since you put your intention to being this good son or good daughter, how well you played into that role. So that's just an example of once you really set your heart and mind into doing something, you can do it. And now your inner child wants you to pay more attention instead of doing that good son, good daughter role and pleasing others, to pay more attention to its wants, which is your wants. Because you had to suppress your inner child, yourself, in order to please others, especially that parental figure. You felt that you need to obey that parental figure so you can be lovable, so you can be loved. But pile number 2, you have to learn that you should not have been made to feel that your parents' love or approval is hinged or attached to them being able to being happy towards you, you being able to obey them, or you becoming a good son or a good daughter. Then if you're not a good son or a good daughter, then they will just withhold their love and support from you. That is not the unconditional love that a parent should have towards their children. I have to know that. Because unconditional love is love that is given without conditions or attachments. It is just love as it is in its purest form, regardless of what you may do, regardless of um regardless of any actions that you could do. Unconditional love equals unconditional forgiveness, always choosing what is truly best for that particular person, for that particular self. For example, seeing you thrive and be happy and free and strong and capable in this life. That should have been the unconditional love that your parents should have given you, their parental figure should have given you. Since as within, as without, pile number 2, as I've mentioned, well, I think in my previous readings, I'm not sure if I've mentioned it earlier, you have to start turning that strong love that you've been given to that parental figure and to others in a way towards yourself first and foremost. Because I think this might be an unorthodox, no, this is not this is an unorthodox or unconventional view, but this is the illusion that God is free, that God, the universe, source, creator, depending on what you adhere to, is freeing you from. You can start freeing yourself first and foremost from this mental illusion that you are created on this world, pile number 2. And for that matter, all of us are created in this world, pile number 2, not for other people. No, you're not created to make others happy, especially your parents, pile number 2, or even your loved ones or your family members. No, you're not. And you can free yourself from this mental imprisonment or this illusion by starting to change your view or this perspective of you being created in this world, not for other people, but for yourself. Actually, all the major religion in this world will say that God, Spirit, the universe is the ultimate source of all, the most it's the most powerful force of all in the entire universe. Let me just get into this so how I can slowly break down that thought of change to how to change your perspective and free yourself from this mental illusion. So with God, source, the universe being the most powerful force of all in this entire universe, what is the most powerful force of all? Pile number 2. Simply put, it's love. Love in its rawest, its unconditional form, which is unconditional love, aka also known as divine love. Thus, God, Spirit, Universe is unconditional love. And what does unconditional love means? Wanting the best for you, wanting the best for someone, for a certain thing, wanting for you to be truly happy and free. So imagine, not really imagine, know that your life purpose coming from the source of unconditional love is actually also you to be unconditional love, aka God unconditionally loves you, so God wants you to be truly happy and to be unconditionally loved in this life. And if God, the universe, states that your life purpose is that what you were created for, you were created from unconditional love, and that is what you also have to be embody in this lifetime, then you have to take that action. That is just what God asks of you, to be truly happy, to be unconditionally loved, because that's how you were created. Pile number 2, that's how we are all created. So with that, you have now to take actions towards your true happiness, your own true happiness, being happy and free. And remember, pile number 2, another similarity from all major world religions, which they got right which they got right, is that only you can save yourself. Only I can save myself. You can't bring other people from the path of salvation. And that path of salvation, what is salvation? True happiness. That's salvation. That euphoria, that paradise, that's true happiness. That's the path, that's the end in the path of salvation. That's the goal, actually, right? So you cannot bring others with you to heaven, in a way, because each of us have our own path to salvation, to enlightenment, to being safe in this life, aka being truly happy in this life and achieving all of our dreams, because God created us in this life not to suffer, not to just get your reward when you die. No, you are created in this life to be truly happy in this life, because you come from the Creator, from the unconditional love source of all. Therefore, you have to embody unconditional love equals true happiness and freedom in this life. Not after this life, in this life. Because this is the life that you were given. Life. You were given life because of unconditional love. Pile number 2, all of us are. So, imagine, pile number 2, from this mental illusion that God is freeing you from, it starts within you, pile number 2. Again, let me repeat, it starts within you. And this path to salvation, this path to true happiness that God wants you to have in this life, not after you die, this life, because He wants you as unconditional love, the source of all unconditional. He wants you to be truly happy. So, you have to start within you, embodying that divine power, that divine source, embodying what God created you for. You are a being of unconditional love. There is unconditional love within you that you have to pour in onto yourself first and foremost. Love is the source of all and the end of all and be all. And as I've said, we are all born and created because of God or the Spirit or the universe unconditional love. And since we come from that source of unconditional love, it is a part of us. We have that power of the divine, the power of God, which is unconditional love. And again, it starts within, as without. The illusion that you are breaking free from, pile number 2, is that you never needed and you will never need unconditional love from others. You will only need that unconditional love from within, from your own self, to be truly happy in this life as God has intended it to be. Pile number 2. That's the illusion that God and your inner child is now helping you break free from and helping you realize. Once you start unconditionally loving yourself, pile number 2, you are inadvertently parenting yourself, treating yourself as how much a parental figure should have loved you unconditionally. And if you want more example again, you can check pile number 1 at least. Right, there's a commonality of message of unconditional love. That's why I felt this was very apt to put in all piles. So again, you are created from pure unconditional self-love, unconditional love. And with that, while you're treating yourself exactly as that, that is how the universe wants to treat yourself, with unconditional love, pile number 2. And in the process of doing that unconditional love, pile number 2, you are accomplishing what God, the universe, source, has created you for, to be beings of unconditional love in this world, to be beings symbolizing true happiness and freedom in this world. Remember also, pile number 2, that you cannot give what you yourself do not have, because you will have a hard time recognizing it, since you cannot recognize it in the places first place if you don't have it. So once you have that unconditional self-love for yourself, first and foremost, pile number 2, everything will fall exactly into places. All of your dreams coming true. And I'm not saying this as if this is just a matter of when, once you start this unconditional self-love journey. As you make the best, patient, and gentle choices for yourself out of unconditional self-love, you will realize and see things and people in a different and higher perspective. And since you love yourself unconditionally and treat yourself with patience and compassion, you actually feel more positive towards yourself and more good towards yourself. And as you do this, you become at peace with yourself. And when you have that inner peace, it would make you see the world more lovingly, in a more compassionate way, and you treat others as such. And in effect, when you treat others as such, it's a domino effect. They will respond to this positive, accepting energy that you send out. And slowly but surely, pile number 2, your whole world will change as it treats you more lovingly, with patience, and with more compassion, as within, as without. And you will inspire others to be more loving, not only towards you, but also towards themselves. Pile number 2. You will then realize that as within, as without, as I've been saying, every loving, inspired act towards yourself eventually translates into loving and inspired action towards others, which in turn will teach them to act towards you with loving and inspired acts, and themselves as well. And you will realize that everything in this world is for you and not against you once you transform your inner world, pile number 2. As soon as you decide to take that first step for yourself, to love yourself unconditionally as you have been created by God, by the source, by the universe. And eventually, further along your self-love journey, you will realize that you and everyone is connected to God, to the divine, through the light of love and truth, as we are all children of God, of the divine, of the universe, and that we're divine beings of unconditional love. And it starts from within, pile number 2. And I saw 3333 when I saw that recording. Pile number 2. You can check the angelic meaning also for that, but signifies change and just confirmation of what I'm saying. Now with that, pile number 2, we'll proceed now with the messages from your inner child as the final portion of this reading. We have 3 cards from the Wild Offering Oracle. First card, you get perfectionism. Permission to make mistakes is so freeing. It's the root of creativity and change. Allow me, divine, to make as many mistakes as I need. Free me from the prison of perfectionism. Put it here. The next card that you got, pile number 2, is empowerment. When you ask the divine to take over, you get pulled into your own authentic power. It's a force of inner love that wants your wholeness and magnificence. Unfold my true and radiant self to you, Lord. Put it here. Very fitting. Below the mirror, 8 of Swords card. And then you got change. Don't scare yourself with the next 40 steps. All you need is then one next action. You can say to love, just show me the first step and change me into one who can take it. Very powerful message. With perfectionism, pile number 2, this is just saying that don't ever be scared of making a mistake or thinking that you failed an idealized image, like being a good child of your parents or being good children of God or a divine being. Remember, as I have been emphasizing earlier, that God is unconditional love. So before you ask for forgiveness, He has already forgiven you. He just wants you to admit to yourself or realize what this mistake is that you have committed. When I say mistake, because again, it's part of being human, of learning. That's why I said mistake. So going back, God just wants you to admit to yourself or realize what is this mistake that you have committed, because one half part of the cure and healing, as I've been mentioning earlier, is awareness and acknowledgement. Thus, as you become more honest within yourself with whatever wrongdoing or whatever you felt that you have committed negatively, you are opening up yourself to healing, and you are already halfway to healing, to getting better. This change is just you having to take that first step, as been mentioned here. First step to unconditional self-love today. Pile number 2. Your inner child is not asking you to do a 100, like again, this 40 next 40 steps or a radical 180 degrees to change your life just right now. Just take the first steps. Just take this first movement. You always have a choice every second, every minute of the day, of what you can do. Like again, I can give concrete examples, like small steps. Small steps every day of you loving yourself unconditionally until one day you realize that all of these small steps that you have been incorporating, small steps of unconditional self-love, has become that big leap that big leap of self-love, unconditional self-love, when you look back in the near future of what have you been incorporating every day. So again, for example, you've been cooped up inside of the house that you didn't decide to take that walk outside, like walk in the park where you can get fresh air. Or I'd like to use an example, like with me as well, healthy eating, choosing to junk food, for example, cutting yourself off from those sugar, less sugar, for example, eating less processed food, and choosing more organic food. Those simple choices every day will accumulate to a big leap someday. Once you take those small steps now, actually, or well, by the minute, by the hour. So, file number 2, again, as I said earlier, I highly encourage you to check out pile number 1, especially in the portion of how to heal the inner child, because both piles actually complement um, some of the messages with each other. And I am excited for you to start your first step into loving yourself better and better each day, pal number 2, because you deserve nothing but the best. Most especially, pal number 2, from your own self. And only you can make yourself be truly happy in this life. So again, I am excited to cheer you in this inner healing journey of yours, pal number 2, and how you'll also achieve all of this, all of your dreams in this life as God has assured you. Because this is your life purpose. And God is assuring you that she will always be with you in every step of the way. So that's the end of your story, pal number 2. If you like your reading, you can press the like button, and you can also press subscribe to get notified of future readings. See you on your next story. Bye! Hi, pal number 3. Welcome to your reading. So before we proceed to your reading, as I've done with all other pals, I would just like to also use this energy mudra for awakening the energy body card that I've picked from my daily meditation earlier, which I believe is a very apt card for all of the readings today. It's unconditional love, or Padma mudra. These are hand gestures that you can use especially for yoga or your breathing exercise, and the at the back you can see what it assists you with, what are the benefits, and how to do it, and what's the focus, which is unconditional love, which I believe is very apt for all of the readings in this video. And you do it like this. Or you can Google actually on how to perform this hand gesture or mudra. You can put it here. Now, on to your reading, pile number 3. So you chose holding hands. So let's place it here. As I've mentioned, the first part will be the archetype cards, which first would represent your inner child, and that is Liberator. Remember, whenever I use this archetype cards, I don't normally go directly or strictly with the description on the card or the name itself, but I let myself feel onto the words, what words leap to me, resonate with me, and the imagery itself in conjunction with the rest of the cards. But if the attributes, especially the light ones, resonate with you, then please do so. Take the best and leave what doesn't resonate with you. Now for this card, which represents your inner child, pile number 3, light attributes: freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. And the shadow attributes: imposing your own tyranny over those you claim to liberate, ignoring legitimate constraints. So let's put it here. And then for the card that represents how your inner child sees you, we have the Poet. Light attribute: expresses soul insights in symbolic language. The shadow attribute: turns a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. So let's put it here. Now, pile number 2, from the card itself, your inner child is someone who's really strong. And this inner child of yours is strong-willed, carefree, and it's hopeful, and it's filled with dreams. And this inner child of yours sees you, pile number 3, as someone who's kind, who's lovable, who sees the positive in other people, still filled with love and hopeful. But though she knows, or he knows, their inner child knows that you have a tendency to please others, to give love to others, and hoping to receive the same in return, actually. But your inner child, while I was meditating on these cards of yours, pile number 3, is now saying that it's now time to refocus all of that love within yourself and really truly start making yourself happy. Your inner child says that it's now time for you to realize that all of the love that you've been seeking from others, family, loved ones, friends, romantic partners, it's actually love from within that will set you free. And it's time. Pile number 3. I keep hearing that while I was channeling the message. It's time. Now, so the cards that would symbolize what scarred or wounded your inner child, pile number 3. Um, so I pulled one card from the Dark Mirror Oracle and 2 clarifiers from the repurposed Greek mythology playing cards that I repurposed with my inner child prior. First card is Anger and Chains. Put it here. Yes, I'll put it, pushing it up. And for the clarifiers of this oracle card, you first got 2 of Lower of Clubs, opposition. And then you got the 9 of Hearts, creation. Now, for this particular reading, I've pre-shuffled and pre-picked the cards and then meditated on each pile. And I'm not going to lie, pile number 3. Well, I was just initially pulling the Happy Little Things deck just to first and foremost check the cards representing each pile. The moment that I pulled this card, I was already getting downloads and messages from your inner child, pile number 3. Your inner child is very strong and powerful, pile number 3. And I I just pulled this third card because it's pile number 3. Your inner child, pile number 3, was already telling me what he or she went through during his or her childhood, that she went to some kind of physical and or emotional abuse. For some of you, there was physical and emotional abuse from an elderly or an authoritative figure that robbed you of your innocence and forced you to grow up early. And because of that, pile number 2, you learned how to protect yourself and how to take care of yourself at such a young age, pile number 3. For some of you, there was lack of security and stability while growing up, and you were not able to express all those fears and pain and insecurity because of that lack of security, that stability, that neglect that you felt back then, or your inner child felt back then. But pile number 3, despite what your inner child went through, it did not break you at all, pile number 3, because you still carry that light of hope within you. You still have that love within you. And again, as I've said earlier, your inner child keeps on repeating and repeating that it's time now, pile number 3. It's time for you to break free from the trauma, from the past, to let go of the anger, the rage, that negativity and toxicity within you, to let go of seeking answers to the question to why did this happen to me? Why did I not have a safe and protected and stable childhood like others did, like anyone else did? Or did I deserve any of this? Your inner child, pile number 3, is saying that it's time. Again, it's time to set yourself free from this anger, from this fear, from this hatred, self-hatred, and shame. It's time. It's time. That's what your inner child has been repeatedly channeling through this reading. So with that, pile number 3, we can move on to the next portion of your healing, actually, because I will not delve deep, at least on what the specific instances of your childhood wounds consisting of the lack of security, stability, and neglect, because each one of you, aside from the examples that I've mentioned earlier, because it's a general reading, has your own circumstances, as I've mentioned. And please, as I've been saying to other piles, if needed, be with at your own discretion, because you know yourself best. You can complement your inner child healing with actually seeking professional help at the same time, because as I'm doing right now, I'm just interpreting this story through these divination tools as your inner child has been narrating. But please also consider getting professional advice as needed. Now with that, let's go to your cards representing on how to heal this particular inner child wound of yours, pile number 3. I pulled 3 tarot cards from the Lightseers Tarot and 3 cards from the Healing Mantra deck to represent how to heal your inner child wound, pile number 3, how to start, because it's time, as your inner child has been saying. Now for the first tarot card, you got the Lovers. Let's put it here. And then the next card that you got, the 3 of Cups. Lovely. And then the last card that you got is the Page of Pentacles. Put it here. Now from the Healing Mantra deck, you got Acknowledging Apprehension. When it's a yes, nothing can stop me. When I'm sure, it's always a no. Here. Welcoming Surrender. There is no problem, only destiny being revealed. And then last, Opening My Mind. I allow myself to see beyond my beliefs and ideas. So with that, pile number 3. Before I start with the interpretation, I forgot to take note earlier, as I've said regarding professional help. As I've also mentioned in other piles, you can also complement what you're currently doing in your inner healing journey by also taking a look at this book by Dr. Carolyn Leaf. This was recommended by one of my favorite online tarot readers, White Feather Tarot. The book is called Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess: 5 Simple Scientifically Proven Steps to Reduce Anxiety, Stress, and Toxic Thinking. Because according to the book, toxic thoughts, depression, and anxiety is prevalent here, especially in our fast-paced society. And it's further aggravated by our thinking that we cannot control and manage our emotions. We had that belief. But Dr. Leaf has scientifically proven methods on how you can actually slowly and eventually integrate into your lifestyle how you can control and manage your thoughts and emotions. And that would be a big help for people who are doing inner child healing, actually. So I'm also gonna post the title of the book on my link. And actually, I bought an ebook via Amazon, and you can just also buy an ebook if you cannot get a hard copy of the book. So with that, going on to your reading now, pile number 3 on what the cards are saying on how to heal your inner child wound. With the Lovers card here, pile number 3, the Lovers, well, not, I mean, I'm not gonna interpret it literally for now, because the Lovers, this is Gemini energy ruled by the planet Mercury. It's about making a choice, an important choice. And in your case, pile number 3, it's an important choice for you. The need to find self-love, the need to you to choose yourself. Because this is not about you meeting another person to love you as it is, pile number 2. Sorry, this is number 3. But in case you're interested, also you can check out pile number 2, especially the healing portion. I'm not saying that you're doomed also not to be in a romantic relationship, should that be what you really desire. But as I would like to say, remember that we attract what we are. So if we are still unhealed, pile number 3, from our emotional wounds, then that's what we're going to attract. Also, pile number 3, people with emotional wounds. And if you will look at the pattern of your past relationships, then you will see this pattern of you also attracting emotionally unavailable, emotionally wounded people, people with emotional issues in general. It's because you attract what you are. Pile number 3. Since like attracts like, you have to heal yourself first and make yourself emotionally healthy and unconditionally love yourself first and foremost. Pile number 3. Once you have realized and actualized this, and should you want to manifest a romantic partner, what you will actually attract is someone who is emotionally healthy, someone who can unconditionally love you, because this person unconditionally loves himself or herself and knows how to give the same to others because he or she has it within. On the other hand, you, pile number 3, who unconditionally loves yourself now, knows how to receive it as you can recognize it, since you have it within yourself. And at the same time, you can also give out unconditional love to another, because you can only give what you yourself have. So see the chain reaction of what unconditional love for yourself can bring into your life. And this is just one example, of course. Now, you will ask, how can I start this journey of unconditional love? What does it take for me to do? What do I need to do? Well, for yourself, pile number 3, from what I've gathered from your cards here, especially since, as I've said earlier, the Lover's card is ruled by Gemini, which has Mercury as its ruling planet. So this can start, your self-love journey can start with communication. Communication with yourself, with that inner voice, that voice within. Remember that your archetype here is the poet. Someone who expresses insights in symbolic languages. So here, as I can see here, with the dove and the hearts here, hearts, love, dove, symbolic of peace, is that you must start learning now to communicate, to use a language or to talk to yourself in a loving and more peaceful tone. Pile number 3. You don't get angry or use harsh words rather towards yourself, like labeling yourself with those hurtful words like ugly, stupid, clumsy, evil. broken, dirty, unlovable, and so forth. You must erase those words from your vocabulary, and especially with regards to yourself. Pile number 3. I can give you a concrete example. I mean, personal example at that, pile number 3. For example, I've been erasing the word CLUMSY, which I just said earlier, but I like to spell it, so I'm not mentioning it from my vocabulary because, for example, they still have the ink stains. So when I get ink stains in my hand, and that has been a habit since law school or since college, or I literally spill tea, not figuratively, I literally spill tea. I call myself cute instead and laugh at myself funnily, of course, not in a sarcastic and mocking way, but I just find it funny. And see, like how I changed my label on how I label myself with the acts that I do with a positive label, which in turn actually see enables me to see myself in a more positive light when I do those things. It's just an example. So, and like that, with that example, of course, every time you fall back, for example, to your old habits of not doing unconditional love, like again, you slip every now and then into labeling for example, labeling yourself with those harsh, ugly, hurtful words or negative words rather. Remember unconditional love, so you are always forgive yourself, because I do have a slip every now and then I just laugh at it again, because again, unconditional self-love, you always forgive yourself each time. And don't worry, pile number 3, each time we're always developing, we're changing our habits, and you'll notice that each time that you forgive yourself, you become more loving and peaceful towards yourself. That whenever you slip into old habits, you find that you are becoming less negative towards yourself. You're using a less harsh, less critical inner voice until eventually it's gone while you're talking to yourself. And when you talk to yourself, when you are thinking in your head, you are now using a more loving and patient inner voice. And that's just a small start, but a small start is actually a big start when it accumulates, just by changing that inner voice. How you talk to yourself, pad number 3, can also set up a domino effect of unconditional love within your whole being. And again, there's a science behind this, as one of my favorite online tarot reader, which I said, White Feather Tarot, would say, um, when she's quoting Dr. Carolyn Leaf, the author that I mentioned earlier, White Feather Tarot would normally say, in quoting the book, that with every trial, with every tries that you make, even though you deem it as a mistake, but it's just a trial, you are building new connection in your neurological pathways. And then then White Feather Tarot would compare it to being similar to learning a new language. Like in the beginning, it's hard because you have to learn this word and that word, and how to use it in a sentence and so forth. So it would take some months, and you feel it's not really going to happen, but still every day you pour into your language lessons and just keep trying, and suddenly that's it. You can actually start speaking somehow, stringing the words together with this new language. So small steps every day, like those inner voice of you, changing it, how you talk to yourself, eventually becomes a giant leap altogether someday when you look back. Pile number 3. So you start with that inner voice of yours, and you can start now with that. Pile number 3. Now the 3 of Cups, aside from that inner voice that at least in your head speaks about celebration, but I see this as more of you celebrating yourself. So example, or being happy, or choosing joy in a way. And as an example, whenever you don't feel good about a situation or especially about yourself, for example, pile number 3, you consciously, so again, this is deliberate, consciously, deliberately, lovingly tell yourself within that you want to feel good. You stop based from that thought, active conscious thought in your head. You stop yourself before you spiral down to that rabbit hole again. You tell yourself, I want to feel, I mean, maybe like that. I was cute again, as I mentioned, but anyway. You talk to your inner yourself with this voice, that calm, loving, like, I want to feel good. What can I think of to feel good? So if you talk to yourself in a loving, more patient way, you start with that. Then when you ask yourself that, then what would it take for you to feel good at that moment when you're experiencing, before you spiral down that rabbit hole? Maybe you can go to you imagine being in a spa, or actually you just go to that spa. Or you should remember, this 3 of Cups actually more or less reminds me of TLC, or tender loving care. And that's how, aside from the thoughts, pile number 3, that's also how you should act towards yourself. Always treat yourself with tender loving care to complement that loving and peaceful inner voice within you. You also now doing acts of tender loving care towards yourself. Treat yourself as you would your own best friend. Treat yourself as you would a baby. TLC, like, again, parenting yourself with unconditional love, making the best and joyful choices for yourself. And you can actually check also pile number 2 about, and pile number 2 or 1 regarding more concrete examples of parenting yourself, because I don't want to repeat the examples that I have given also in the different piles just for you. So again, when I also do online readings, especially there can be some messages that resonates with me with other piles, so I take my time also intuitively if I'm drawn to more than one pile. So take it as it resonates, pile number 3. So with that, that TLC towards yourself, it's this card inviting you to do that acts of unconditional love towards yourself, making the best and joyful choices for yourself. Pile number 3. Now with this card, the Page of Pentacles, pile number 3, as you can see here, I'd like to bring it closer because it's really interesting when I pulled this out. This was a new tarot card that I've been seeing around online, but I just got a few days ago. And I've been loving the Light Years Tarot. So anyway, going back to your reading, pile number 3, this Page of Pentacles reminds me of a yoga pose. And the figure is holding a mandala, which is used for meditation. So this card is advising you, pile number 3, to spend more time alone by yourself. So you can focus more on yourself. Like this one, he's doing meditation secluded in the woods, as you can see here. Because as you focus more on yourself, you will not be easily influenced by others, even though they might have good intentions. But because you know yourself better than most, because all those feelings, all those thoughts, all those experiences, all those dreams that makes you uniquely yourself, those are only known to you. So contrary to what others may say, you are the best authority on knowledge regarding yourself, pile number 3. And when we take the time to isolate ourselves, we drown out, we push away others' voices, society's expectations, and structured beliefs, and learn to focus more about ourselves. And when we do meditation, well, if you cannot get away to a secluded place or to do that me time vacation for yourself, You can do meditation, but remember that meditation is not just sitting down and closing your eyes. That I had that misconception before actually. Meditation is simply the act of giving your attention to only one thing, just to focus on one thing as a way of becoming calm and relaxed. Others find washing the dishes as a way to meditate or cleaning their place. Others meditate through art, when they paint, when they draw. So you can discover for yourself the different ways that you can meditate. Because as you go within, as you focus, you become more at peace with yourself. You give that peaceful me time for yourself. Like you, because we're always overthinking, our mind is like, or when conscious, normally we just think and think. So we need less to let our minds rest. And like recently for me, I joyously discovered that I can meditate while I am painting my nails. Especially on my first try, which took me more than an hour. But it helped me relax as I focus on those strokes, on how I learned how to properly apply a nail polish coat. It's harder than it looks when they do it in the salon, I tell you. But anyway, so that's one way that I can meditate. I discovered, and it's fun. You can discover different ways to meditate and Google away your ideas if you want. Now, with the healing mantra cards, pile number 3, here on I was thinking where I saw that earlier. I think this is it. No, this is it. Yep, this one. This the surrender portion. This one actually this one coincides also with Three of Cups, because as I've mentioned, the Three of Cups resonates to me as more of an act, an external act. So when you start practicing unconditional self-love, for example, this healing also takes place as within, as without. So as you feel unconditional love, you become more loving and trusting, and you trust yourself more. And you will also feel more secure within yourself, that you start no longer worrying about others, their opinions or expectations of you, because you now know that it does not matter anymore. You have all the love and approval that you'll ever need from within. And you know, as I've been like saying, like many times throughout this reading and in my other readings, as within, as without, that the world is also changing. Your world is also changing as you if you just surrender and start knowing and receiving the blessings of the universe that unconditionally loves you. And if you actually want to know this, that step by step process, or at least thought process on why the universe wants you to unconditionally love yourself, that message I delve deeper in pile number 2's healing advice, if you're interested in pile number 3. Now again, this may sound philosophical, but as I've said in my previous example, like learning a new language, as what White Feather Tarot would like to use an example, the small steps of unconditional self-love within, when you look back, as I've mentioned, will be now a giant shift of you becoming a being of unconditional self-love. And as within, as without. So you are attracting, like attracts like. So as I've said earlier, you will now start attracting a romantic partner with unconditional love. And you will also start attracting people, can be friends, or you can be changing your family to, who will unconditionally love you, pile number 3. Once you start this journey of unconditional self-love, you will now see how many self-limiting beliefs, how many self-defeating behavior you have started to overcome and eliminate in your life. Pile number 3. With that, like I said, at least with this one, with you being kinder in your thoughts towards yourself, with your inner voice, you will have to also learn how to let your negative emotions become your ally in helping you conceptualize and reprocess those traumas, those toxic thoughts and behaviors that you have. And I said, like, I'm really not paid to do this. File number 3, I am just like really, really amazed by Dr. Carol Leave's book, which gave me a more structured method on how I was reconceptualizing my thoughts, my toxic behaviors and feelings. And that can help you actually, pile number 3, on top, to complement any inner child healing that you've been doing. I really highly recommend the book, and I'm not really paid to advertise that. So now, with that, pile number 3, let's go now to the messages of your inner child for you. So we got 3 cards from the Wild Offering Oracle, and first you got, excuse me, self-acceptance. Nothing is more exhausting than endlessly working on yourself. When you offer your whole being fully to love, self-acceptance arises spontaneously. May I rest in our oneness, dear divine. That's here. Let's put it here. For your second card, pile number 2, pile number 3, you got patience. If you've tried forever to shift a problem, there's a problem, something to learn. There's probably something to learn from embracing it. May I let this be for now. That's why there's a B. They just realized it now. Help me relax and trust every need will be met. Often change soon follows. Last is intention. Intention is simply allowing the will and the mind to align and move in harmony. May I always focus on the highest. My intention is that all God's wishes for me come true. This is a beautiful message. So with that, pile number 3, with self-acceptance here, it's just reiterating also what we've been saying earlier, that self-acceptance is basically just unconditional self-love, and you deserve nothing but the best from yourself, pile number 3. Therefore, the best unconditional that you can give, you give it to yourself, pile number 3. You should be your number 1 priority, pile number 3. And with this message of patience here, this is part of that unconditional self-love. Remember, it starts with you removing that label when you commit some wrong, some mistake. And again, you have to adapt a growth mindset. Pile number 3, as has been stated here in the card, that if you get stuck or you feel that you can't solve a particular problem, there's probably something to learn from embracing it. Meaning, you look on what you can learn from it. You choose to see the positive in what you are undergoing. It's you actively, consciously choosing to see the good. And once you start consciously doing that again and again and again and again, small steps become one big leap when you look back in the future, pile number 3. So you start with that loving, patient tone, inner voice within you, and act lovingly and patient towards yourself with tender, loving care. You start with that, and with that, with your intention, again, see, intention, this card is telling you that that voice within you should be that tone of gentle, loving, and patience, and you should be telling yourself now, setting the intention now, pile number 3, with this gentle and loving, patient tone, that I am now unconditionally loving myself first and foremost. So you can repeat after me, pile number 3. I am now unconditionally loving myself first and foremost. You always set this intention and talk to yourself in a gentle and loving and patient tone. Pile number 3. All those TLCs, tender loving care, pour it onto yourself, and you will start this healing journey of profound and beautiful transformation into you becoming the best version of yourself, like a butterfly emerging from the cocoons of trauma, emotional wounds, toxic behavior, and thoughts that held you back before. Pile number 3. And with that, pile number 3, that ends your story for this reading. I hope that you like your story, and if you do, please don't forget to press the like button, and you can also subscribe for future stories like this one. Bye!